made at the Santa County Sheriff's Office. This call will be recorded and monitored. Your advance pay account balance is $119.93. For customer assistance, billing inquiries, or to block future calls, dial 1-877-650-4249. To hear the cost of this call, press 8. This call is subject to monitoring and recording. Do not use three-way or call waiting features during this call. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Brother, I had one more thought about Yellowstone. People often can tell by animals what they do that a disaster is coming. Like even before an earthquake, oftentimes the animals will behave funny or take off running for the hills or something. They can feel it in the ground, I guess, so that many people will testify that certain animals, deer and things like that, will take off running when they feel something under their feet. And so, not that that would be enough warning to get far enough away, but it might help. You know, if the animals, if the buffalo start clearing out of Yellowstone, maybe it's time for you to clear out too. Okay, go ahead.
All right, now he has a second and a third question. I'll go ahead and ask him at once. Bob's second and third question about Yellowstone is, how do you think the flood played into the formation of the supervolcano? Number 3, do you think the Yellowstone supervolcano will wipe out America during the day of the Lord? Thanks again for your questions and answers series. I wish we could catalog all of your responses and be able to click on them for future reference. Praying for your soon release, Bob.
Okay, I didn't get right fast enough. How did the flood play into the
formation of the supervolcano?
Okay, what was the second one?
The second one is, do you think the Yellowstone supervolcano will wipe out America during the day of the Lord?
Well, take the second question first. I've got no idea. Nothing may happen at all. It has the potential to happen, just like all of the fault lines around the world, where the Earth is cracked, the San Andreas Fault, the Hayward Fault, the New Madrid Fault. There's faults all over the world. The Earth is cracked up like an eggshell. Some of those fault lines or those cracks appear to be stationary and haven't moved in recorded history. There's never been an earthquake there. You look at the one running up the Mississippi Valley, and there was a horrible earthquake in, I think, 1802 or something that made the Mississippi run backwards and created Reelfoot Lake, and there's all kinds of stories about that, but hardly anybody lived there, so it didn't affect too many people. There was one place, I think it was South Missouri or maybe Arkansas, that just shot sand up in here, like a sand volcano, just from that earthquake. So there are earthquakes all over the planet. I mean, there are fault lines all over the planet. You can look at our Earth Science book and see those, the known faults. But some of them move, some don't. Some move and create problems, some move and don't create problems. Some move very slowly. They slide past each other, and all of a sudden your fence line isn't straight anymore. Like, what happened? And nobody notices it's sliding. So nothing it's the same with these volcanoes. There are thousands and thousands of obvious volcanoes around the world, some of which are active, some of which are not, and whether they'll play into end times or not, nobody knows. It has the potential of erupting today. It could blow sky high and wipe out huge sections of America. Now, it could happen today. It could never happen at all. We'll have to wait and see. As far as would it wipe out America, like I said, you'd have to ask the folks who are experts on that, but it has the potential of doing unbelievable damage. Certainly, even if the volcano itself doesn't make rocks land on your house, it may darken the skies for long enough to create wild weather and crazy weather patterns and affect things for a long time. So that I don't know. How did it play into the flood? Again, I've no clue. Other than my ideas would be that the Bible says the fountains of the deep broke open, and there used to be water trapped under the crust of the earth. A lot of volcanoes shoot out, believe it or not, water, super hot water, which hot enough to do a whole variety of things. So in addition to the magma coming out, the melted rock from down deep, it's oftentimes propelled by superheated steam, giant steam explosions from this water. We know the Bible clearly teaches there was and still is water in the crust of the earth. Psalm 24, verse 1 and 2, he created the earth upon the water. Psalm 30.
This call is from the Santa Weaver County Sheriff's Office.
Psalm 136. That's where the water came from for the flood. And when you get down to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean or other places, you see springs and geysers all over the world. There's still water in the earth shooting up to the surface, like the tens of thousands and maybe even millions of hot water vents at the bottom of the ocean that they discovered in 1977. These super hot 600-degree water coming out of these thermal vents. Well, it's got to be coming from down deeper in the crust. Looks like it's a no-brainer. If it's coming up into the bottom of the ocean, it has to be coming from somewhere lower. So I think if Walt Brown's book, In the Beginning, on creationscience.com, he has a whole section on Yellowstone, I believe, and the supervolcanoes, and it's a fabulous read. Tell him I said hi, but he's a brilliant man. He doesn't yet believe in the canopy theory. He will when he gets before the Lord. He's going to say, well, Kent was right. He should have bought the canopy.
Yep.
He's not yet King James. He'll get there eventually if he keeps studying. But otherwise, it's one of the best books I've ever read. Fabulous book. Okay. Hope that helps.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Hovind. The next question comes in from Perry in Canada. Perry writes, do you know the platypus is the only venomous mammal? In its back spurs, it contains venom. Do you think the poison was beneficial pre-flood?
Interesting question about poisons pre-flood. Carl Baugh, lunches here, brother.
Okay.
Carl Baugh, Glen Rose, Texas, has a great section on rattlesnakes, their poison, how that it's not poisonous if you raise them in a hyperbaric chamber, or maybe it was cottonmouth that he raised. Maybe they use those fangs like in a hypodermic needle to inject this poison into when you have an injury and you need healing. Maybe it had a healing process, but ask Carl Baugh that question, because it's very likely that it was some of these rattlesnakes, they can sense heat with their heat pits on their cheeks, and when part of your body is injured, it heats up. You can take a thermograph picture of a person and show where their injury is, or where infection is in their body. So the rattlesnake might have said, oh, Adam sprained his ankle, it's hurting, here, let me vaccinate it for him, and he would bite him and inject something that would be beneficial as opposed to poisonous. So it might be the lack of hyperbaric causing the problem today. Just a wild thought. Okay, let me call you after lunch, brother.
All right, sounds good. God bless.
But it is all right. I'll write it down for the other person.
Very good, very good.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, don't forget your wall builders interview. All right. Okay, that's Pastor Ken Hovind. You know the Bible questions email address, ruddavis@yahoo.com. And if you want to call with a testimony, 972-839-9848. We have less than 3 weeks. Less than 3 weeks until his new trial on May the 18th in Pensacola, Florida. God bless.